All right, so let's now talk about our film this week, Elio, right? And of course, Elio tells the story of a young boy who's lost his parents and feels alone and isolated, living with his aunt. Longing to belong, he wishes to be abducted by aliens, and to his surprise, his wish comes true. But throughout this extraordinary journey, he discovers that his true place is home. All right, Charles. You go first, man, on this one. I want to hear your viewpoint before I come in with mine.
Um, okay, let me say this. When in the opening sequence, one of the opening scenes of the movie, they play the Talking Heads once in a lifetime. I was like really buying into this movie. I was like, the music is great, the animation is great, the cinematography, everything about this movie is really good. And then I realized that there were some holes in the story that just didn't work for me. And I left the theater. I'll say the movie is. I mean, as far as children will enjoy it, but I left the theater thinking I'm missing something. And there's always. I think the story was lacking in. It didn't really do much character development of Elio, and to the whole point is we never understand why he's obsessed with outer space. It's never explained in the film. It's just all of a sudden he's obsessed, and just and of course his aunt is works for uh I think she works for NASA, or is it one of those, maybe the Space Force or whatever it is, and she's was supposed to be an astronaut, and you think that would kind of help him bond with her, but it really doesn't, and that isn't even explained. And so I really like the movie. I mean, it's emotional. It's well directed. I mean, it's Pixar, so I mean, when does Pixar go wrong? They're more reliable than Marvel in what they do, and so it's. I mean, it works for children. But as an adult, and I'm looking at this, and I'm trying to process why things are happening. It didn't really average out for me. So, yeah, it was a good story. I love the work that Zoe Saldaña does in the movie, and yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, there's it works if you turn your brain off. But if as I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, I'm trying to think about why, why. If you ask why, then you're gonna be like, I don't get it. So that's it for
Wow.
me.
I'm so glad I let you go first, man. And even as I was half listening to you, I was multitasking because I was doing something else, but
That's
I'm half
terrible.
listening to you.
That's terrible. You
And
half listening
I
to me?
cannot disagree with you more over this film,
Wow.
man. I thought that along with stories like How to Train Your Dragon and what was another one I wrote down? The Karate Kid Legends. There's been this influx of films that we've seen recently, which speaks to my earlier statement about the quality of films because maybe I'm in the minority and I Charles knows where I'm going with this. I'm a film nerd. I watch thousands of movies, right? So I'm just not the guy I'm not really the guy you should have a conversation with movies when we see these reviews because I'm looking past what I'm watching and comparing it and linking it with stuff not that we've watched in the past but stuff that they're releasing now. So my original point, let me go back to it. There's been this theme that's been running with a lot of these films where we have young kids who are probably teenagers, young kids who are feeling alone and isolated, right? So the fact that Charles, at least I understood for this one, here's a kid who felt like an outsider. He didn't really fit in with his peer groups and his friends. He was interested, he lost his parents. He wanted, he felt like he had nobody left to support him. And his idea was that, he had always been fixated on space and aliens, right? So we see that early on in the story that, he's hanging out at the beach. He's drawing in the sand. Hey, aliens, I'm here. Come and get me. So he's got his ham radio. He's listening from signals from far away. So again, it might not make sense to you or I, but I'm saying think about it in the context of you being a young person who's feeling like you're alone and that you can't connect with anybody. So I'm not saying it is right, but I just had a perspective about it that I was able to go with it, right? His aunt, who is now caring for him, is trying to connect with him. He's still mad at the loss of his parents, so he's really not, he's pushing her away instead of embracing her. She, in turn, is frustrated because she can't really reach him. She sends him away to a camp, and then blah, 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 right? So, having said all of that, this is a story for young kids that it's an adventure, right? So, he gets abducted by aliens. He has to kind of reimagine or recreate who he is, his identity, to belong. He wants to stay because he feels that he's finally found a place that's accepting. I thought everything about this film, from a fantasy standpoint, works really, really well, right? And I will tell, I'm not going to say, because I know Charles has a childlike imagination about a lot of stuff, so I'm not knocking you and giving you the famous Joe Barber line that I once gave him, that this movie wasn't made for you. This movie is made for all of us. It's universal in its appeal. I thought the voice work and everything about it worked really well. And I also think, which Charles is really going to fall out his chair when I say this, that this is an early contender for animated feature of the year. Like when they have the nominations later on, Elio will be a film that will be in the mix for that. Whether it gets nominated or not, I don't know. But there are lots of sweet elements in this story. And I loved a lot of the second and third act stuff when he befriends like another alien kid his age who is going through a similar thing with the loss of his mom. I thought there were a lot of it was the loss of his mom.
His mom was out fighting war. She was still
Okay,
alive.
well, his mom wasn't around, so he was feeling like he was abandoned. So you know what I'm talking about, man. Thank you, Charles. No, she wasn't gone. Thank you, Charles. But I'm saying all that to say that I thought I was amazed how Pixar constantly has these adults that work in their animation department who are writing, who can make films like Wall-E and Up, and some of these films that really kind of tug at your heartstrings. This movie worked for me. I'm not going to say it's the best animated film of the year, but it really worked for me in a way that I felt the movie. And I was like, okay, it reminds me that I'm seeing all of this stuff. And the fact that this kid has to evolve in front of our eyes. He goes from this scared, little, unsure kid by the end of the movie, who's a kid that really has sacrificed and shown leadership and has grown up, not grown up to a full adult, but has stepped into being a responsible young adult in this film, which I thought in a way worked really well for me. It really did, man. So having said that, Charles, I'm gonna wrap that up. But what did you think? You already told me you didn't think that much of the film, but from a grading standpoint, where are you with Elio?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Maybe it was the fact that there was a guy with a phone on during the film and was getting ready to get kicked out of the theater, and it distracting me from seeing the film in the way that I should have. I don't know. That might have been the issue. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. Uh, I agree with you. The second and third acts are very touching and but it's that first act where you first meet Elio and you just don't get why he thinks the way he does. So I don't disagree with you. The movie is very good. It's very entertaining. The animation is fantastic. The voice work is fabulous. I just recognize few plot holes that didn't make it the best film for me. So I gave it a B minus. I don't disagree that it'll be in consideration for best animated feature of the year, because what Disney film isn't? So it'll be there. I mean, the work that they've done is fantastic. It's just that the screenplay works, the story really doesn't.